Hello, this is Johnny Cycles with CyclesGaming.com, bringing you another edition of Dragons in Modern. This is my budget build. I've run it through a one friendly league already, and I'm taking it into a second. I'll go ahead and keep this. We have our 1 mana dork. We don't have a 3 mana planeswalker to help us ramp into a 5 mana dragon, and now we're getting scammed, so I guess we're going to be losing the halfling and the bone crusher giant. So we had a nice hand there for a second. Opponent went to they have the scam, and they had it in their opening 7, so pretty good for them. Yeah, so I was going to keep this on the back of having that turn 1 and then, having a little bit of interaction, but now we are going to lose both of those things and be left with 4 lands and a creature that we can't play until turn 4. So our best draw right now would be a lightning bolt to take care of this grief and hope that our opponent they kept 7 though, so I'm sure they had, oh good, field around. Perfect. Well, sometimes you get scammed in your first game, in your first match of the league, and that's why we play Veil of Summers in the sideboard. But being on the draw against this deck when they kept 7 and had the nut draw themselves, it's pretty bad for us. I wonder if they'll ban grief at any point. I mean, the play pattern is it's not as brutal as a Fury. We're definitely on a slower clock. But I mean, is this really the way they wanted Modern? Oh, I love you, Questing Beast. I really do. Yeah, I mean, our opponent, they had the nut draw with nothing, with only a single land, and that's going to be enough for them to win the game if we don't draw something. Anyway, I love you, Questing Beast, but I don't want to see another one of you right now. A lightning bolt would have been good. Another bone crusher giant, although that wouldn't take care of the 4/3 here. But just to have a body to cast next turn. I mean, I don't even really know, to be honest. Maybe a Domri, but then they just kill it. Buy us a turn though. Well, they hit another land, but they don't really need to do anything else. They probably have another one of these not dead after alls for the lightning bolt that we probably won't draw anyway. So sometimes Modern isn't much fun, and we were just really struggling with the lands. I mean, we drew a land, 4-drop land. I'm not sure this would have been a great game for us had our opponent not taken 2 of our 3 non-land cards on the first turn of the game. I think it would have been a struggle anyway, given we would have been getting a Questing Beast down now, assuming our Delighted Halfling survived. So yeah, fun. Yeah. Just how the Magic creators meant it, right? Just how Garfield meant it. Oh, good, we drew another land, and then we will scoop it up. So for the record, our opponent that kept 7 had the 1 lander, but with the nut draw, double griefed us, took our Delighted Halfling and a Bone Crusher Giant, which we would have been able to play turn 1, turn 2, and then a turn 3 Questing Druid had our opponent not had interaction, which they surely would have had some kind of interaction, but we would have at least been able to stomp, get a Bone Crusher out into a Questing Beast. Nevertheless, and we also just drew really poorly that game with multiple lands and a second Questing Beast. So not only did our opponent run super hot there, we ran super cold, but our opponent helped us by taking two of our 3 non-land cards on the turn 1. So super fun game. So definitely Veil of Summers. Probably go down. I mean, we have to cut somewhere. So I usually cut some of my mana ramp, and we could bring in Tormod's Crypt to try to get him when the grief goes to the graveyard. But I think we're going to go with the Veil of Summers. That's just our protection, and maybe we'll bring in this one Pulsar also to give us a little bit of recursion from our graveyard after they do scam us. So, all right, on to game 2. Yeah, we have a Veil of Summer and 3 lands and 3 dragons. So I guess we have our all 3 of our dragons here, or one of Thundermaw and a Glorybringer Stormbreath. It might just not be our night tonight with the luck, because that is a terrible hand. Yeah, I mean we can do a turn 1 Utopia Sprawl, and then get our Stormbreath and Delighted Halfling Scan probably, and then be left with nothing. But yeah, better than going to 5. We're going to assume we're going to lose the storm. We're going to get scammed, or at the very least, Thoughtseize. So we're going to put a land to the bottom and keep our action and hope for the best. If this was a Veil of Summer, then we could forest, hold up Veil of Summer next turn. Well, we didn't even have a second green source, to be honest, so we wouldn't have been able to cast the Delighted Halfling with Veil of Summer mana up if we don't draw a second green. So here comes probably some form of a Thoughtseize. Let's see if they have the full combo after keeping 7 again. Maybe they went to 6 this time around. Oh, okay, it's just a Ragavan. Yeah, okay, so this time opponent did go to 6, so that's something, I guess. All right, so we're in this really awkward situation now where we hit a second Utopia Sprawl. I always say you always name green, or you always name red with your Utopia Sprawl. However, now we're left with unable to cast both of these spells because of that. And of course we put a land on the bottom, even though it was still just a mountain. So we can go ahead and run out the Delighted Halfling, and it will probably get bolted, and then they'll get a Ragavan hit in. We could run out the Utopia Sprawl and have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana next turn, and if we drew a land, go ahead and get the Stormbreath online. I can't imagine that they don't have an answer for this Delighted Halfling. Yeah, if we could have done both this turn, it would have been really nice. We're just going to run out the Utopia Sprawl. This time, maybe we'll name green, since we have the double red already. So we'll get this, tap for a green and get a red and a red. All right, so we'll name green this time. Unfortunately, they get Ragavan hit. Hope they don't hit anything good. I mean, it's hard not to be a little salty when you get double Thoughtseize on turn 1 and then you run super cold. Here, we had to mull to 6. We'll see what happens. I mean, we just don't seem to be drawing exactly what we would need, which we're not running super cold yet, but we'll see what they hit. Probably a lightning bolt. Oh, another Utopia Sprawl. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad we didn't draw that. So now here comes a Thoughtseize. Cool. Maybe we'll get a land and get the Stormbreath down. Now our opponent has more of an idea of what we're doing. They saw Questing Beast only last game, so yep. Here comes a double Thoughtseize. Oh no, Dorothy Voidwalker. That's an interesting sequencing of spells, but that's cool. Land. All right, well, we got the land. So our opponent definitely should, I mean, unless they had something else in their hand and they weren't sure. I mean, they definitely should have cast a Dorothy Voidwalker first and then Thoughtseize, because they could get their own Stormbreath. So I'm not really sure what they were up to there, why they did that. Okay, yeah, gets exiled. Cool. Let's get another mountain. Because then on their next turn, they could have gotten their own Stormbreath to hold down the fort. I mean, we're still taking 5 a turn. They're taking 4 a turn, so theoretically they're going to win, and they may have the Molten Collapse in hand. But still, it's an interesting choice. I think it was a misplay if I had to guess. And yes, I'm still sick, and my voice is half gone. It's just real bad congestion right now. It's nothing too debilitating or anything like that. It's just been annoying more than anything. Yeah, get their treasure. I wonder if they're going to have a shielder to follow up here, because why not? They have the 3 cards in hand. They have the Storm Breath, or Bone Crusher would have been nice. Now they're on a much faster clock. If they cast that, decide to cast that. If they have the shielder, then I'm sure they'd cast it, and then we'd just cry because they're obviously running very, very well. But Stomp, Lightning Bolt to get rid of the Storm Breath. Why not? No, they are going to undo that. I didn't know you could undo a sacked treasure token. Maybe they're realizing they can't cast the Stomp from exile. Oh, there's the Molten Collapse. Sure. So now they're going to be able to get the Storm Breath next turn. I still think it was a misplay, but could have the Storm Breath this turn and Molten Collapse this turn. What do we draw? Dragon would be good. Glorybringer is our best draw, because Glorybringer allows us to kill this before they get their own dragon. Well, we're getting again punished in all sorts of interesting ways. Ways I've never been punished before. We're now getting punished for not having another green source for the second time this game. I don't think we can win this race is the problem. Especially if they have any sort of just anything, Bowmasters, something like that, because they will sacrifice this to get the Storm Breath, attack us for 6, and we're on a 2-turn clock. And unless, I guess if we draw a dragon, then we'll be able to close it out. But if they do what I would do, which is get my own Storm Breath, which unfortunately is not the first time I've been killed by my own Storm Breath. Okay, so now they're going to do some shenanigans to sacrifice it, bring it back, and get my Storm Breath. And then I think if this puts a counter on it as well, okay, it doesn't. So, but they can still block with it. Because it is, oh, it's tapped though. Okay, it does put a counter on it, but it does come back tapped. So we're still drawing live to a dragon if they don't have a removal spell as their last card in hand. Whoops. Sure. We can just have 6 here. Or a Lightning Bolt, right? If they go for it, which I'm sure they will. Fable. Okay. Oh, they don't even attack. So they're going to play it smart. Play it safe. We draw a land. A very useless land. So then next turn they can attack for 4, 8, 10, 12, and we're dead. Well, we only have one way out, and that is to attack. We have Vigilance, so they want to trade with, they want to block with their dragon. With our dragon, I mean, that's fine. We were unlikely, since they didn't go for the attacks, we weren't drawing, we were unlikely to win that game anyway. They really needed to attack all out, and we really needed to draw a dragon instead of a land, but we drew a land, so. Wow, this has been a brutal game, and not just brutal, but very unfun. The Rakdos scam deck is just not a lot of fun to play against. You really have to hit on all cylinders, and they disrupt you early, like we saw in game 1, and then here in game 2 they had a Thought Seize, but overall they were just able to they probably have as the last card and not dead after all for their Ragavan. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, we're dead on board unless we draw a Lightning Bolt or something, and there's a Lightning Bolt. So we're going to bolt this and hope they don't have the not dead after all. And it looks like they do. So yeah, super unfun deck to play against. Honestly, they were able to disrupt us on turn 1 with double Thought Seize last game. In this game, they only had the single Thought Seize. Their creatures with their shenanigans. We stumbled a bit on mana, and they were able to disrupt us a little bit and just put a lot of pressure on us and have multiple tricks to keep their creatures alive. So yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes in today's modern, but you know, we'll see if we can get the next match. I'm Johnny Cycles with CyclesGaming.com, and I'll catch you on the next one. This is Johnny Cycles with CyclesGaming.com, and this has been another edition of Dragons and Modern. Be sure to go to my site and check out all of my original Magic the Gathering content, where I post articles and video of my janky modern brews in my commander decks. I'm also publishing a couple chapters every month for my science fiction fantasy novel called The Pod Kind. Check me out on YouTube as well. Click that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll catch you on the next one.